Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cash That. This is your host, Joe Dellera, and I am joined by Bryan Fonseca once again. We are just fully in the trenches for Olympic hoops, and we are officially now at the semifinal stage. We've got two games coming up on Thursday. We have Germany versus France, and we have Serbia versus the United States. Both these games are going to be awesome. We're recording Tuesday night. We don't have a lot of player props up yet, but we are going to be able to give you some like angles that we're looking at, or some lines that we're maybe waiting for, and I think that'll give you enough of guidance basically to kind of make some bets and go along with the side as well and feel confident in what you're doing. I will say one of the things that I noticed, and then like just looking out on there, is like we do have a tendency when we start to get fewer games, we have a tendency to like still want the same volume of plays. And it's like, it's hard because, it's like when we're watching the knockout stage, there's a bunch of games every day. And I'm like, I just don't need to bet. I don't need a bet on every game. Now it's like, well, there's two games. Like there's only 4 games left. There's these two. And then there's, the gold medal game and the bronze medal game. Bryan, how do you navigate that? Because like I always am like, I want to fire some clips off. Like when we get into that situation, like I try to not, but it's always a tough challenge because like sometimes you do have like a really good angle on a game.
It's also just the rush of like you're gonna miss it when it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going through this now with Olympic boxing where like I took a bunch of futures before the tournament started, and of course I did it in the year where there's like a historic amount of upsets.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my futures are gone, but I have a couple left. One of them who's like a big favorite, but another one who is plus 1,000 at the time that I took him, and he's fighting for a gold medal tomorrow. And I'm like, bro, Elislandy Alvarez, please come through for me. And I'm looking at all the other gold medal fights that are coming up this weekend, and I'm like, shit, I kind of want in on this and this. But boxing is very hard because it's like, there's not really an over under. It's just kind of like, here's your money line, and do it if you
bet
want.
it.
Here, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, all right, this is supremely fun to bet on because I keep telling people it's like March Madness on steroids. Because it's single elimination, it's country versus country. Don't know what's going to happen from a game-to-game basis. And then once it's over, like there's not going to be an Olympics in 4 years. Next year, it won't be covered as much. I'll probably do some stuff on this.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will.
All the regional competitions. Yeah, we'll be doing Eurobasket and the AmeriCup and all these different things. But a lot of people will probably tune back into international play when it's Olympic time in 2028 or the World Cup the year before. So yeah, I want to like get in on every game because I'm gonna watch every game. So it's like I want to have something else to watch for other than the fact that I love basketball. I get it. I love basketball. I love talking about it, but still.
Before we get into the game, I forgot that you do cover boxing. Give us a boxing lock before. What's your best boxing bet coming up for the next couple days before we dive into hoops? I'm getting you off the dome here.
I wish I could give you a good value one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just something. It could be a parlay piece. Who cares?
Oh, okay. Parlay piece.
It could be a parlay piece.
Bakhtir Jalolov is going to win the super middleweight gold medal again. He shouldn't even be competing in this shit because they allow pros to compete in the Olympics now. And Jalolov is... He's minus 2,000 tomorrow.
All right, so that's a real parlay piece.
He's minus 1,400 to win the tournament, and I grabbed him at minus 300, which I don't like doing. But I was like, bro, he's gonna win the tournament. Like
it's gonna happen.
There's
no way around it. There's no way around
it. I can probably give a better. I mean, listen, Amani Khalif, who's in the news, is a pretty big favorite now for, she's going to fight for a gold medal. I think she's going to win.
Minus 400, right? So.
Oh, that was minus 650 the other day. So that's actually come down a little bit.
I think I'm looking at it right.
There's one.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah. And then I'll give you one more that I like. I think she's going to win that fight. Listen, people put the battery in her back having her deal with all that bullshit, first of all. So she's coming out for blood now. There's no odds on this one yet, but Busanaz from Turkey, um, Chekroglu, I think is how you pronounce it. She's probably
Yeah.
going to win her tournament. So
All right, word.
yeah, there you go.
Just a little extra spice for the people before we dive into these games. So look, I want to talk about. We'll go in chronological order because these games are Thursday. The first game is Germany France at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. This line opened at Germany -1, and I hope you had the Twitter notifications on because I was like, "Give me that." That line got steamed up to -3 within about 2 minutes, and then -4.5. I'm not saying that I've steamed this lineup, but I'm just saying that we read it right. And then it's sitting at -4.5 now. So it does pay, to have the notifications on, try to get the bets in as soon as we're putting them in anyway. It does make a big difference here. These two teams played in the group stage. Germany took care of business. When we're looking at this game now at the 4.5, we both I gave out a future. I liked France to medal at +175. I think that was a good number. Right now, we know for certain that they are going to be playing in a medal game. Whether it's the gold medal game or the bronze medal game, we know that they're going to be playing it for a medal. When you look at these teams, how confident are you in what France can do, what Germany can do, regardless of almost regardless of the odds here? Does France have a chance? They're the home team ish. I think that mattered. I think it came through against Canada. What are your thoughts on France? Because Germany is undefeated in international competition over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Germany hasn't lost since Eurobasket in 2022 in a game that's mattered. So we're not counting scrimmages to Team USA, of which they've lost this year and last year. Both that are very close also.
Yeah.
And then they beat Team USA in the World Cup, different Team USA team. France can win this. I think every team, generally in all these tournaments, any team who gets to the Final Four can win. There's a pathway for everybody. I think there's a pathway for Serbia, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I don't know if I bet on it, but I mean,
it might not be the best
plus 900, plus 900 money line. I mean, but look, there's a pathway for everybody. For France, this is the most important thing. They changed their rotation this game. Now, reasons are unclear because there's been conflicting reports about what's actually going on with Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert played 3 minutes, didn't start the second quarter, came in for a little bit, got pulled out, and then we saw him one more time for a cameo. That was it. Bilal Coulibaly. Yeah, Bilal Coulibaly played 1 minute. Matthias Lizort, who played great, 19 minutes off the bench. Gerson Yabusele, who started 30 minutes, and he had 22 points. Not sure you can count on that again, but no. Yabusele is a good player, right? Isaiah Cordner, who 20 points. He's been on a little bit of a tear. Not sure he's going to do that again. So, they're a hard team to sort of look at now that they've reimagined their rotation a little bit. All that being said, I still think Germany's better. Germany, I just saw them beating them badly with Rudy Gobert still, but it was 69-46 after 3 quarters, and then they won 85-71 after garbage time. I'm not gonna get off Germany here. We, as Joe said, we hammered -1 for Germany as soon as it dropped. So when we do best bets, we can't give out -1 because it's -4.5 now. But you talked about France to medal. I also have Germany to medal as one of my futures. Yeah. So this is kind of a win-win in a sense.
You're in a good scenario because you're going to at least cash one, if not both.
And we also took, not to continue victory lapping, but this is something else that we really liked, and this is one of our favorites before the tournament: Europe to win the World Cup. I mean, to win the Olympics, to win the gold medal. They did win the World Cup, the last couple. But Europe to win the Olympic gold medal. And right now, it's USA versus Serbia, and then France or Germany. So there's 2 cracks at this. Not saying it's going to happen because we both said, Team USA might win this, but look, it's plus 500. Let's take a stab at it, whatever, and then we'll see what happens. And we got the scenario we wanted with France beating Canada, where it's Team USA versus Germany, France, or Serbia. And if I'm power ranking the European clubs, I'm probably going to put, if Serbia wasn't playing Team USA, I'd probably put them ahead of France in terms of how nervous I'd be You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like Germany's
that's
better
really
than both of them, and then Serbia.
yeah. I think that's really the problem with having the France to medal ticket, um, because I think that it's just unlikely now, like that they medal, because I think that Germany takes care of business, and then Serbia beats France. Like that, or that, like that's the way that I see it. Like I think Jokic is going to put Wemby in a fucking body bag, like just from a size perspective. Like if that's the matchup that we get, that's like not been a good matchup for that. Just has been a very poor matchup for them. So um, I think that that's one of the concerns. Um, I will say though that having like we'll talk about it. Actually, we'll pivot to that in a minute. But with this game, I think that there's a couple things that we really have to look at, right? France and Canada were two teams that we had continually said we thought were a little bit fraudulent. France, to a lesser degree for me, because I liked France. I felt that Canada was fraudulent, and that was why we were betting like Australia. We were saying that we were betting some of these other teams, saying like we don't think that
Are
Canada's
Europe bet?
there.
Are Europe
Yeah,
bet
or
also?
Europe
Because
bet. Yeah,
The Europe bet shorts Canada and Australia, and we were like, we're fine with that.
yeah, and we're good. And we're in a scenario now that this is about as good as we could have gotten. We got the three, really the three. I guess you could say the three best teams coming out of Europe that you could have had:
Yeah,
Serbia,
yeah,
France, and Germany.
yeah.
With our like that
Greece and Spain
5-1
were the other
ticket that
two.
we wanted. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
look, right now I think we're in like the best scenario for that ticket. I wouldn't hedge it. I don't think that like, there's nothing you can do with this. Like you're just gonna ride it out, right? Um,
Yeah.
Looking at Germany, I think that they do so many things well that is like different than Canada. Like Canada is a lot of like your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Germany doesn't really do that. Germany runs like real offense. And I question like just how well France is going to be able to defend that when, for all we know, like Gobert maybe isn't going to play. Um, you have Wemby, who like I get it. Like Wemby as an individual is an incredible defensive talent. Last year, the San Antonio Spurs had a bottom 10 defense. You got Evan Fournier out there, man. Like this is like Nick Batum. Like, this team is not good defensively. And what Germany does, like they really run real offense. And I think I'm going to be liking Schroeder points, Franz points. I think they're going to be able to get downhill even against Wemby, just because there's two guys, like they're both so slippery, and they both went off when these teams played in the knockout round.
I'm interested in Schroeder threes also
So probably going
because
to play
he's
more
going to be
drop.
able to. He's going to shake loose against those guards. He was 4 for 7, I want to say, from three the last time these two teams played each other. His over under for threes has pretty much always been 2.5.
Yeah,
So like that's the number. This is a game. And Dennis Schroeder, like, there's something to say. There's something to be said about Dennis Schroeder in big international games. Like, this may be a spot where you can take his over on threes and then take a shot at like for him to make 5 at like a good number. You
yeah,
know, like kind of like we did with was it Yuki Nakamura? I
yeah.
think it was
Kawamura.
Kawamura.
When we got that bad line,
Nakamura.
that was awesome.
I'm thinking
Nakamura.
of dude from WWE, Shinsuke Nakamura. Uh,
We won't hold it against you.
Shinsuke Nakamura is great. But yeah, no, Yuki Kawamura. But yeah, the Schroeder points you mentioned. I might be interested in his PRA depending on what it is. Although I feel like it might be juiced.
I could get there too. I just think that this game is you have two teams that like Germany has done it continuously. France is the team you're looking at and you're like, they should be able to do it. They did do it at a point, but they haven't totally done it right now. And I'm not sure how much to take away from the Canada game because I don't know if that's more of a conversation about France or if it's more of a conversation about Canada. If you had to pick, like looking at that game, is that more of a France won it or Canada lost it performance for you?
You made a good point when you said Canada was playing more your turn, my turn offense. Like the reason Team USA is so good is because like they do have the best players, or not all the best players, but like a collection of
Most
the
of them,
best
yeah,
American players who they figure out how to play with each other. The Canadian national team has a lot of guys who are two-way
Dylan
wings
Brooks.
who kind of they kind of do the same, they occupy the same thing. They don't have like a great big,
Yeah,
they don't have like a a stretch big that you really trust. Like Kelly Olynyk's
yeah,
supposed to be that. He's a little older now. He's their captain, but like there are things you can pick at with Team USA. There's like no weakness, and the reason I'm making the comparison is because Canada's like they were the sexy team to knock off Team USA because they did it in the World Cup, and it's
yeah.
like Canada. They did that because that Team USA team,
Was the
along
Knicks
with not being as good as this
like
one,
like
but they also didn't have they didn't have Bam, Anthony Davis,
no,
Joel Embiid. They had Jaren Jackson Jr. who couldn't get a fucking rebound.
and also just fouled immediately, like nonstop.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So though,
it,
like, I think it's. I need to see it again with France. Is where I'm at to answer the question, because
yeah,
since winning an Olympic silver and getting really far in Eurobasket, but like last year in the World Cup, they were second favorite after Team USA to win the whole thing, and neither of them did. Germany was eighth, and they ended up winning. Um, and France was the first team eliminated because they got embarrassed by Canada, by Latvia, and now this
yeah.
year it's like they haven't looked clean on offense at all. And even now, they kind of played a team that we thought was a little bit overrated, and now like we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah. I will say that if I'm betting this game, like if I wanted to take like a little bit of a longer shot, um, I might like I've been looking at this market because we bet Fournier to lead France in scoring. We know they have 2 games left. We know that he's 12 points behind Wemby because Wemby just had that like 7-point performance. He's 11-1 to be France's top team scorer. Um, I wonder if it's worth a dart. I also think that you could just bet 20 plus and be in a better scenario. So I will say that. The other thing from this game before we move on to Serbia versus Team USA is Andreas Obst, 3-point marksman, been incredible on the international stage. I don't know if something's wrong or not, but he's played 8 minutes against Greece, 13 minutes against France, and that was after playing 26, 18, 28 like before against like Brazil, Japan, USA. In the 3 games he's played against France, he has scored 3 points, playing about 15 minutes a game. Total, 3 points total in 3 games. I'm curious to see if we get a line for him. I would be very interested in an under. He's a scary guy to take an under for just because he's so electric when he does get the shots up. But I haven't seen a report that he's hurt. It just seems like he's not totally in the rotation right now for Germany for whatever reason. So
He was their fourth leading scorer in the World Cup last year. I just checked this.
yeah, and he hit that dagger
Like
against
10,
the United
10.4
States.
points a game. He was second in minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Like
23.6. He
I've tried to find something, and I don't see like anything. I haven't seen any news that he's like not well. Um, honestly, so I'm checking now to see if I
I
missed
had
something.
forgotten, but I had forgotten, by the way, that Franz Wagner played 15 minutes a game in the World Cup last year.
He like
And
barely
that's
played.
part of this too with Germany. It's like, yeah, he now he's playing like the dude who just got that massive contract from the Magic, which we'll see if he actually deserves it, because the 3-point shooting has to come around, I think, to really
Yeah,
justify it in that way. But you get the point. It's like he's really emerged as like a true Dennis Schroeder co-star. In the World Cup, it was kind of like Dennis Schroeder and them dudes. And everybody and all the dudes were really good. They were
Yeah.
role players who excelled at all the things that they needed to excel at around Dennis Schroeder. And now it feels like, oh shit, it's Dennis Schroeder and like Franz Wagner is playing like a star, really, outside of the
Yeah.
3-point shooting in this tournament so far. He's averaging the most points. He's at 21 points a game. He's shooting 50% from the field. The only thing he's not doing is shooting threes effectively. And other than that, like Isaac Bonga is also somebody who's really emerged as like one of these key role players, former NBA guy, who's kind of changing shit for them in terms of like the energy he brings when he does get his 20 or so minutes.
Yeah. And I will say, because you just brought it up with Franz, to like he's scoring a ton of points, right? So right now, when we came into the tournament on Cash That, I told you guys there were two bets that I was taking for players to lead in scoring. I was taking Franz Wagner at 20-1, and I was taking Bogdanovic at 20-1. Right now, when we look at what the odds are, we are in a pretty good scenario. Because the last time that we were here, we also added Dennis Schroeder at like 27-1. Right now, if you look at the current odds, we have, let me find it. Basically, we have three of the top four in terms of what their scoring margin is right now. We have top point scorer Franz Wagner is the favorite, plus 250. Jokic is plus 300. Bogdanovic plus 600. Schroeder plus 800. Giannis is at 11-1. Giannis is done, and so it's over. Like he's actually getting this number because he's got so many points. He scored 103. Wagner needs to score 20 points to pass him, or 21 points to pass him. Jokic is at 77. Bogdanovic is at 74. Schroeder's at 72. The next closest player that's actively playing is Anthony Edwards at 67. That's a pretty far cry from where we're even at right now with Franz, because we know all these players are getting multiple games. If you're in this position, you have those three tickets all at 20-1 or longer. I don't mind if you can get a little bit down on Jokic if you want to. I also don't mind just taking his points prop in, at least against Team USA, because at the end of the day, like he kind of has to score 20-ish, while Franz and Schroeder, like one of them might score more. Bogdanovic also is right in that scenario. So that's the way that I would try to do it. Is I would probably bet Jokic his points prop over, and then maybe an alt or two. But I think I'd rather save that for a later scenario if I really had to, especially because we just know these are the guys left. Does that sound like decent thought process to you, Brian? Like I'm talking into the ether here, but I think when we have those three guys, I don't think that we need to get in on like Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, or Victor Wembanyama. I think I'm pretty comfortable with just having those three guys, maybe buying a little bit of Jokic in the prop market.
Yeah, and you're essentially riding value there. So I like that.
100%.
And this is interesting because like, and this is something for people to keep in mind when you're doing these sort of look ahead spots, I guess we can call it that, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who's left is playing twice. So that's something important to keep in mind as it relates to leader totals for points, rebounds, assists, whatever the case may be. Obviously for like MVP straight up, you're only going to win that if you're on the gold medal winning team. But everyone here is going to get to 5 and 6 games. So long as they're healthy or whatever the case may be for the individual player. So that's going to factor into some of this too. So that's going to be interesting because like, the leaders for certain categories could basically emerge even from the bronze medal game. So it's important to know, which, it could be France versus Serbia. Who knows?
Yeah, this would have been far more interesting, and we wouldn't really be in as good of a position as we're in had Canada won. Shea's at 84, RJ Barrett's at 79.
Yeah.
We're in a great scenario right now, and that was in part because we were fading Canada too. Like that was part of our thought process when we liked these guys on the German team, and on Serbia. So really good scenario. That's probably how I'm going to be playing it. I'll probably play like a Jokic points over to try to at least capture some of this, and then we can kind of assess from that point forward. I do want to talk about obviously Serbia versus the United States. This spread is at 17.5. I think it's a little bit high here, Brian. Is there any reason that you shouldn't grab these points with Serbia? I know Team USA has taken care of business against them now twice, once in the prep games, once in the knockout stage. Is there a reason to not take Serbia at plus 17.5? This number just keeps ballooning every game.
Yeah, and one spot has it at 16.5 right now, which I was like, that's 1 point off, but we'll see where it settles. I feel like this is kind of where it's gonna be. To me, like Serbia has shot 32% from three in this tournament. They've shot better than that in just one game, which is kind of crazy. They shot 50% or above 50% from three against South Sudan. And other than that, they've been in the 20s for the most part and one game in the 30s. So like at Eurobasket, they were like 40% ish. In the World Cup, they were at 38%. This is all small sample size, but Eurobasket was 6 games. The World Cup was 8 because they got to the silver medal and they lost to Germany actually in the final without Nikola Jokic. And now in this, past effort against Australia, struggled from three again, didn't really matter. They were able to hold them off because Jokic was Jokic. They were missing Nikola Jovic in that game, who actually helps at 3-point shooting. And he had an illness, so it'd be interesting to see if he plays in this game because I feel like, the pathway for them to cover is just not shoot 20-something% from three, and Team USA doesn't make 60% from three. Like that's really
and Kevin Durant like
Team
not
USA
missing.
Yeah, Team USA was hovering around 60% most of that game and then eventually settled at like 56-ish. And I don't want to just make it all about 3-point shooting. Like there's a lot that goes into it, but like it fundamentally, this is where it was for that game. And the reason I keep bringing it up is because I think Serbia can shoot much better than they have been. The best 3-point shooting game was on low volume against South Sudan. Which, we said, like, listen, they're going to have to make some shots because that defense is athletic. They can cover a lot of ground. In order for Serbia to move them around, like, you're going to have to stretch the floor a little bit. And they did that. Not enough. They only took 21 threes, but they also got to the free throw line a bunch, so it didn't matter. And if Serbia is going to just straight up win this game, then, you're talking about, like, they have to shoot maybe 10 percentage points better than Team USA for three or something crazy like that. Which they would, one game sample size, who knows?
Yeah, they would definitely have to really step it up from 3-point range. But I think the other big adjustment is obviously Jokic played 31 minutes. I think he's going to play at least 35, 36. Like the team was a minus 26 in 9 minutes, right? If he plays 35 minutes, this does get a little bit more interesting when he's the only guy on the team that was like a plus minus 0, like a positive plus minus, right? He scored 20 points, had 5 boards, 8 assists, 4 steals. I'm definitely going to be betting. I'm hoping I'll get like a half. I think we'll probably get a 1.5 steals line for Jokic. I'll probably be on that. Team USA just turns the ball over a lot, in part because they're a little flippant with the ball, also because they just play fast. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. When you look at this game from a lineup perspective, Embiid obviously just played great against Brazil. When these two teams played in the knockout round, Embiid only played 11 minutes, didn't look so great. We saw a lot more Bam Adebayo, a lot more Anthony Davis. What big rotation do you think fits here? Do you think that this is the game that Team USA tightens the rotation and says, like, we're going to play 8 guys? Like, we're not going to play. I mean, granted, like their 10 is unbelievable. I don't think that you're going to see Halliburton. He's not going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Tatum again. Do you think it gets cold a little bit more? I struggle to see it getting cut like too much more than that. But like, I feel like the reason you got Joel Embiid to be on this team was for this game. And like, if he's not going to play, what's the point? Like that, to me, that was why I feel like they got Joel Embiid.
I think they're gonna play Joel Embiid. I don't make much of him having a good game against Brazil just because like
No, because it's Brazil.
I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
like Joel Embiid still hasn't had like a good game against like a good team, so to speak, in
classic,
this Olympic
classic.
run. Like just the Joel Embiid experience, the latest portion of it. I don't know what Steve Kerr is gonna do. I do think like you need Bam and you need Anthony Davis.
They're both gonna play. There's
I,
no way around it. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's how that's what you throw at Jokic. Because the first game, memorably, they started Joel Embiid. It went terribly, and then they shelved him.
yeah,
Like he had the worst plus minus by far. He was like -8. Nobody else was below +8 or something along those lines. Like they went on they had a terrible start. He came back and they went on a run immediately. And people say, "Oh, it's because
just
Kevin
immediate.
Durant couldn't
Yeah,
miss." And it was like, yeah, Joel Embiid also like he sucked in that game before he eventually sat. And look, I like Joel Embiid. Like he's a fucking great player to watch, but like stylistically, it just like the addition of him on this team, like it just hasn't quite made as much sense
meshed.
yet.
Yeah, it hasn't
We'll
meshed.
see.
Yeah,
We'll see though, because you have a lineup with Jokic and Filip Petrusev, who's another 7-footer, and it's like you're gonna want to run. So like, is Joel Embiid gonna make sense, or are you gonna put somebody more mobile like Anthony Davis or Bam or both of
yeah.
them, which they've done at times?
I think, yeah, and I think this is an interesting game too, just stylistically, because both teams I think can get out there. Both teams can score. To me, like this game screams an over. You have like two of the fastest teams in the Olympics playing each other, both with paces over 83, which is very fast for a 40-minute game. Both with like elite offensive engines. Um, I wouldn't be surprised to see an over. This is at 185, 185 and a half. When these two teams score or played before, they scored 194 points, and that was with Serbia really putting up like a dud in the second half. They scored 16 points and 19 points in the third and fourth quarter. Um, I think this is going to be a game where LeBron plays more minutes. Holiday probably plays a lot. I think Holiday probably plays a decent amount of minutes. Curry probably plays more than 21, I would think. Durant should see more than 17. I think I'm going to be wanting like an Ant under. I think that he has one of the tougher matchups here, just like in terms of what he brings. But we'll have to see. We're really going to have to see because it's hard to say like who are you going to cut minutes from on this team. Like there's obviously a pecking order. We don't really know it right now because we haven't really been forced to see it. So I do think late in games we've seen LeBron James like take over games. In some of those close games like this, the almost loss to South Sudan. I'll probably be betting some triple doubles here between Jokic and LeBron. I think this is a game for that.
Mm.
I think it's going to be fun. But when you're looking at this 3-point shooting and you're looking at like the way this line has progressed between last game, this game, what are you betting for this spot?
You and I keep staring at Steph Curry, being like, "All right, when's it gonna happen?"
Yeah. Like it feels like it should have
that's
happened by
kind of
now.
the big
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, he's been
But
surprisingly just
he only
not
took two
really.
threes. Yeah, he only took 2 threes against Brazil, in one of which he got fouled on. So it didn't even count in the box score.
Yeah, yeah, 3 shots in 17 minutes. And it's just like I keep staring at Steph Curry. They keep putting him at like 2.5
Yeah,
because it's like
we've hit one and
you
we've
can't
lost
put him
one,
at
but
1.5.
no.
Yeah, it's like you can't put him at 1.5. Like I don't know if you're going off the Brazil game, which I don't think you could,
I don't
but
think you
like
can
if you
really use
are,
it.
like you can't because if you look at it, none of the starters play more than 17 minutes.
Yeah,
They went to the Curry, Drew Holiday, Booker, LeBron, Embiid lineup, and it's like Tatum played 20 minutes. I think this could be a game where Tatum finds himself
out of
back
the
in the
rotation. Yeah,
like just yeah.
back on the
Halliburton
bench.
we know
He's
is not
not
going to
playing.
be
Yeah,
there. I'll tell you what.
he's not.
Like okay, like LeBron LeBron, Curry, Drew, Booker are all going to start, and my guess is they're going to start Embiid and see how it
Yeah.
goes, and then evolve from there. Durant's playing, Bam's playing, Anthony Davis is playing, Anthony Edwards is playing, Derek White's playing. I think they're gonna go. I think they're still gonna go 10, but you might see
Yeah.
one or two guys only get like 8 minutes.
Yeah. There might be a couple guys that play fewer minutes. That's why, to me, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I think Ant might be the guy. If we get like a 12 and a half or 13 and a half point line, as good as he's been, I'm probably going under because I think that like if the minutes got to come
Yeah.
from somewhere, and like in terms of what he does, I think that he's slightly less efficient than some of these other guys. But like the results have just been incredible for this team, like overall. Like everybody's really played, I think, really, really well. Devin Booker especially has been extremely efficient. And he's a guy that like I would normally look at a line and I'd be like, I kind of want to take an under, but he's been so efficient that
Same.
it's really hard to do that. Given the fact that they just had this overtime game against Australia.
Yeah.
Are you concerned at all about Serbia like just being tired, where the United States kind of coasted against Brazil?
No,
It's the Olympics and they got a day off.
Extra 5 minutes. Yeah. I was gonna say though, like this is not like fucking revelatory, but like I kind of think I want Kevin Durant points.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna rip too. They don't really have a guy that can cover him properly either.
Yeah, like I don't think it's going to be like the first game where he was like, $1 million for $1 million. But I mean, I'm going to be interested to see where is that going to be like 14 and a half?
It's probably going to be 14 and a half.
Higher than that.
It's probably going to be, it was 15 and a half today. There was a 15 and a half in the market. So I think
I'm okay with that. I also want like, can I get Bam over half a three somewhere? Jeez.
Yeah,
put that line up.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't been getting too many of these lines. I will say one bet that I'm interested in right now, because I think that this line should be closer. Serbia plus 11 and a half is plus 200. I'm a little interested in that. I think that Serbia keeps it close. I think that this is a way to say, like, you're already at that point where you're just like, well, like if you're the United States, like you have the game in the bag, like you're probably like you're trying to like play keep away, keep it slow, like whatever. But 11 and a half, I think, is more indicative of where I have these two teams as opposed to the 17 and a half. So I'm probably going to play a little bit of Serbia plus 11 and a half at plus 200 at BetMGM. That's where it is right now. That's the only place that I see this. I'll probably be poking around a little bit for it. But that's one thing. And the reason I'm not going to sprinkle money line is if you saw in the action app, I logged Jokic Olympic MVP at 100 to 1. I bet it at halftime against Australia because I was like, I just couldn't get to the numbers that were required to get there. And right now, like I put $10 on it twice. So I have a cash out value of over $50 on each of them, which, little sprinkles here and there, but it's like I can pay for the bet one way. And the other thing is we've talked about this on this podcast, but I'm just going to remind you, when you take some of these long shots, you really want to take it twice. It gives you that optionality to cash out one of them if you can. And, like it lets you not have to make that like really, really tough decision. But Brian, we've talked like a million hours about these games because we talked on Brian's show as well, which is also on YouTube. Who's winning the gold medal, and then who's winning the bronze?
You can't not pick Team USA. I mean, I suppose you can, and shit. If anybody's gonna not pick Team USA, I'm probably the guy to do it. But I can't do it with this team. I will be looking to do that in the World Cup for sure in 2027, like I did last year. Although I didn't have Germany doing it, but and then we'll look at fading them in 2028 because I don't think that team's going to be as good. But I think they win a gold medal, and they beat Germany in the final, so we'll give Germany the silver. And we have France to win a medal, So like it'd be nice to see them get the bronze, but
I feel like it's going to be Serbia.
I yeah. And listen, Nikola Jokic is not like he did lose in a round of 16 in Eurobasket a
It
couple years ago.
happens.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
To Italy, who you and I both think are kind of overrated, and Puerto Rico exposed them
Yeah. Yeah.
actually in going to the in getting to the Olympics. Like they exposed that team. But I one, I'd be curious what that line would be. Both lines actually, but that
Yeah. I
line
think
for
it's going to depend on the score. My guess would be USA would be favored over
yeah,
Germany by 12 ish.
something like that. Yeah,
Something like that. And I think that Serbia would be favored over France by 2.5. It depends
if
on how tight
Team
these
USA
games are, though.
blows out, right? If Team USA just blows out Serbia, that line's going
France
to
might
be
be a
like
favorite.
18 and a half.
Yeah, France might be a favorite then.
Yeah, that's also
France might be a
yeah.
favorite.
Ultimately, it depends on the games. It depends on the games,
Yeah,
but USA, Germany, and I'll go Serbia for now
yeah,
because I just think they're a little bit better and more complete than France is right now.
yeah. All right, guys. So we've done a ton of Olympic hoops. You know where to find Bryan at Bryan Fonseca on Twitter. You know where to find him on YouTube. We'll put the link in the bio. You can watch the other half of our show that was over there, and we will continue to obviously keep putting out. We're putting out some game guides for the USA games for both the men's and the women's. We're going to continue putting out best bets, some videos, whatever. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Follow us on all the social medias. Started a TikTok, so that's fun. I'm going to recommend that. I'm doing like a joint pods and recs here of all of our social medias and all of our streaming networks. So it's a lot of fun. But look, the Olympics are almost over. The Olympics end, at least for as much as we care about, on Saturday, and it's going to be a blast. So it's a little bit of a sprint right now, but we're going to continue getting you the absolute best content. So let's keep doing it and continue to cash that.